Okay. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask who's on grinders. Okay, does anyone know they've already got a question they want to ask? Okay, we'll come to you, and the rest of you start feeling brave. All right, please, I would love to introduce you to Ned Blackburn, who is the writer and co-star. Harvey Weed, who you will recognize for the many parts that you play. Then we've got, so the two performers here, the two directors, Josh Stainer and Meg Bowron. Yes?
Yes.
And the two producers, Sarah Waghorn and Lizzie Hawke. Yeah. And Matt is Choir Boy Productions. Before you guys came out, I was saying to the audience, we've got several chairs here because even though during the performance you only see two people on stage, there is a family of friends who have put together this show. So before we talk specifically about Homo, and I say that because that's what the short that you've given to the play. Before we start specifically about Homo, I want to ask about Choir Boy Productions. How did that come about? And what's your reason behind this company? Now I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, so we were all at university together at Uni of Manchester, and we met kind of through the drama society there, and it's really very much like I think we wouldn't have all like bumped into each other in a bar and become friends that way. I think it was more like being sort of thrown together and in loving the same thing and wanting to do some drama and became friends quite quickly because of that. And we worked on a play that Josh had written first in Manchester, and then Meg and I did a sketch show together, and then this sort of has propelled us, but it really just started because I had written it a while ago, and it was saved somewhere on my laptop, and Josh saw it on the desktop and said, I want to read that when I go on holiday. And I told him not to, I told him don't bother. But he did, and he said, I'm going to direct this, quite forcefully. And then, yeah, I think that we really just have learned by doing, and we really all are sort of just friends first and figure it out as we go along. We all chip in, we all do a bit of everything. To make sure that the show goes on, but it really is just the six of us. We don't have any sort of looming people in business suits. It's just the six of them.
It's wonderful, and also I hope this isn't telling, but I often see companies before they go on stage, and there's always a pre-show ritual. But this is the first time I've seen such a beautiful pre-show ritual that involved the producers and the directors as well as the performers. You're all nodding, so Meg, say what you do.
Oh my God. I mean, it can range from anything to a really serious and professional warm-up, I would say, to dancing around all together, chatting about our days. I think it's really important for us to feel like we're all, because like what I was saying to you earlier, like we're very much an ensemble group and making sure we're kind of got this nice hive mentality of like everybody's in the right headspace for the show. Everyone has their role that they can do for each show so that we can communally come together on the stage, remember why we're here, and like all be in the right headspace for when it's like, okay, positions, let's get ready. So the main way we do that is chatting, hanging out. We all take part in the warm-ups if we can, even though we don't need to be running around on the stage for an hour. And all make sure we have fun with that at the start of the show, so it gets these guys kind of like ready and pumped and positive for the hour to follow.
Yeah, very good. And Lizzie, as a producer with Sarah, what do the producers do on a performance like today? We started a few minutes late. Was there something that the producers had to explain?
Yes. We've got comms. The comms is our phones and our WhatsApp group chat, which is just basically this is the first venue we've ever worked in where the tech bot can't hear directly to the stage. We normally, I mean, the first time we did in Edinburgh, they were about, I want to say 10 meters from the stage on like a tiny table at the back. So like this is the first time we can't hear. So the issue today was everything was good in here, but we couldn't hear the sound. And Meg, we're a very unconventional show in the way we run is the directors do the tech. And so that gap, which normally it's just about a quarter past, and we're quite prompt, it didn't because I was running to and fro from the tech box in the front desk trying to get the speakers that can hear us to go on. And Sarah's on this door and I'm on that door trying to communicate. So that's what our job is, to make sure that all logistics are fine and like things like a top went missing this morning. Our job is to make sure that that's found. A cucumber feels like it's not as firm as it needs to be. Our job is to find that and make sure like people like prompts and those kind of things like it's to make sure that the boys feel as comfortable as the boys. And also at points you are the, like especially early on you have to get rid of your ego and you are the runner on the set and like it doesn't mean that my job is less significant, but like if someone needs some water or someone needs a plaster or someone needs like my job is to do that because everyone else has a bigger job to do. So it's those kind of little bitty things.
Harvey, did you backstage know that this little pre-show drama was happening?
Not with the yes, I did actually. Yeah, I heard things going a bit far. I was like, oh, what's going on there? And then sort of worked it out. But yeah, no.
I was just in the box.
I did that. You've given away the secret. Was anyone else surprised when the lights came up? Now we know. Okay. All right. So let's come back to Homo in particular. Ned, you said you had it on your desktop. Josh wanted to read it. In the notes, you say it's not autobiographical, but it is as you raised your hand, and we know you went to boarding school, so there is some lived experience there. When did you actually write it, and what was your inspiration? Why did you want to write it? One of the things I love in the marketing, and it's really prominent if you've seen the program, is it says, this is not _ a gay tragedy. It's not, is it?
No.
So why did you write it?
I'd written a few things in lockdown, and I think I was just sort of desperate to do something creative, and I'd written some quite outlandish stories, one of which was imagining Peter Pan as a drug dealer to children. It was just really some quite bad stuff. And I gave it to my drama teacher at school at the time, and she was just like, I really think you need to learn to write what you know. So I kind of winnowed down and looked around and was like, okay. And it was as I was leaving school, it was really upon my exit that I was like, I'm going to write down that one. And yeah, and I'd written it as a one-man play. It was a monologue. And it was a stream of consciousness really, and it was just a whole lot of ideas about what would be funny, what could be an interesting plot line, what does the main character look like. And then I think it was through doing some sketch comedy of like sort of realizing that humor can work really beautifully if you have someone to really punch those jokes in. And I think that's what's quite fun about the show, is being able to work with someone else and build all of these ridiculous characters into like just an hour. And then I think that it's not a gay tragedy because I think that gay narratives and stories are really quite dominant at the moment. It's really cool. But there's a sensationalized aspect to that. And I think that with this story, it's not hingent on someone who's gay. It's hingent on someone who is using humor to sort of defend themselves from quite a toxic environment. And I think that one of the things that we like to talk about with the show is like really trying to build the school as another character and another dimension to the play, because the school kind of doesn't just represent like that like school in particular. It represents a class system. It represents a sort of dominant culture and something that is so prevalent in this country but not talked about very often. And I think that the gay experience to that is one that I can relate to, and it felt that I had access to write. But I think that is just a way in, and I think that what better way in than sort of something that's a little bit camp and light-hearted and fun, and using that humour that I think a lot of people can relate to. Before, gay men were really loud and proud on screen, this humour was there, like it was in female comedians and in shows like Miranda and stuff like that. And that's very much my sense of humour. I think it's a sense of humour that a lot of us share. So that's really the focus of the show. And it's not tragic.
No. Although arguably, I would say it is quite tragic for your character, Harvey. But actually, before we talk specifically about Harry, tell me, how many characters exactly do you play?
I don't actually know. Is it like 11?
11, I think.
11, yeah, 11. Yeah, but I think the changes, I think I do almost 30, so it's almost one every 2 minutes.
Do you ever
But
get
yeah,
confused who you're playing?
luckily not. No, no. There was when we first started doing it, there was a bit where it was really hard to get the swing of what comes next, because some of them are kind of similar with the changeovers, but yeah, I've eventually got there in the end as well. Yeah,
And how do you feel about Harry? How do you view him?
that's a good question. I I feel like I mean, it's sort of up to interpretation, sort of whether I think maybe we all have our own views on it, of whether he actually believes Johnny did take the video of him or not. Um, and I personally, I think he does, and he, but it's from a place of sort of naivety. He was sort of beginning to open up to Johnny and get to this place of sort of acceptance to who he is with Johnny behind closed doors, and then in the moment that he feels like he can pull away from it, he does, and he puts all of the blame on Johnny just to tear away from it and shut that side of him out. So I feel quite sad for him that he feels like he has to do that and can't explore and be who he actually is. And I probably think, yeah, he'll go on the rest of his life to continue acting in that way, unfortunately.
And denying his
Yeah,
true self.
yeah, just from the people he surrounds himself with, and yeah, and sides with in the end.
Okay, I'm going to turn to you in just a moment, but I have to first ask, two directors for a two-hander. Is that excessive? No, but I really love it. So how do you divide responsibilities? Who does what? And it's wonderful also to bring a female perspective to this male story.
Well, we worked together for the first time about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And have very complementary skill sets when it comes to directing, which has been amazing, which has really been the reason why I think we work so well together. Meg's incredibly got a really great design head on, which I sometimes struggle to access.
And you don't actually credit a designer, so you're doing the design as well.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and then we collaborate on everything. We do the lighting and sound together as well, and so it kind of does feel very much like it's quite hard to define exactly where one of us stops and the other takes over.
Yeah.
But we just talk a lot, and we share a lot of the same taste, which is I think the most important thing. Like directing something really requires you to have a taste and know what you like, and I think we have a lot of overlapping tastes.
And as the female in this part of the team, what do you think you viewed the material through a different lens?
I think maybe slightly. I think we had such a great time when we first read it, because obviously Josh read it first, and then I read it, and we were like, we both really want to work on it, and that's kind of, it was very like informal, like we both want to do it. We've directed together before, let's do it, kind of thing. And I think the three of us had a lot of conversations, me, Josh, and Ned, about the material and what we can take from it ourselves. So like for me, I was learning a lot about the idea of boarding school, especially an all-male boarding school, because obviously that's not an experience that I've had. Didn't go to an all-male boarding school. So I was learning a lot of really interesting stuff. And I think it was also, I think I was able to bring in, because I'm really interested in like gender politics, gender identity, that stuff. And I think there's a really nice relationship that can happen between a woman who believes that and a gay man who's experienced like oppression in a way in a similar vein, and that you can kind of see and really be able to outline that the problem here is a toxic masculine institution. And that was something that like Ned briefly mentioned earlier, of like our desire to really make like the world, like the school, be the main issue here. And so when we have that bit kind of near the end when Harvey as Harry is kind of sat on that bed and he's alone and he's in that middle, and it's kind of this like stark realization that like he is also been, not just Johnny, but he has also been really, really hurt by this system, and how that can lead to those kind of people hurting or oppressing women or gay men. And I think it's that really nice thing of being able to have that allyship in a creative sphere, because we can really listen to each other, and we get a lot of satisfaction from listening to each other, because you get to hear like opposing experiences, but from people who know how important it is for the other person to listen. So it was like a really great experience doing that.
Wonderful. Okay. Oh, and one final thing, choir boys. Why choir boys, Sarah?
I think that it
so that it got named before I joined the team, and I sort of had the same thing of like, where did it come from? And they kind of did say, they just struggled to think of a name at the
There were some
start.
terrible suggestions.
Yeah, and some terrible like logo, suitcase bit,
Itchy, scratchy
itchy, scratchy bit. But I think that now it's been kind of fun. It's got a really nice sense of irony to it. In the
I
way
was hoping you all sang together, no?
maybe that's down the line, guys. People's voices.
Very good. Okay, in the front row, you had a question.
Yeah, I went to an all-boys school, not boarding school, and I saw a bit of myself in Johnny and more in Sam, to be honest. Because I came out when I was 13 at school, which is the friends are stupid, and it's a fine line between both, I guess. But I wonder, again, not making assumptions about anyone's sexuality or gender identity, but I just wondered if you'd agree that whoever said school days were the happiest days of your life never grew up healthy, B or T, and what school was like for any of you.
Anyone want to comment on their school experiences?
I think that I think that my school had a really long history of just been there for a while, and I think that it ebbs and flows with acceptance, and it's just it's not like everywhere else. I think schools and boarding schools in specific, I think it's kind of like this weird time capsule that doesn't move at the same rate of progression and acceptance as everywhere else, because there are teachers and people there who've been there for 50 years and just continue. They have ideals and a standard of what it should look like, and I think school more generally, I think no one can say that they fully loved or fully hated school. I think maybe you can say you fully hated it, maybe. And I think that it just often, unfortunately for queer people, is where you're going to be at your most sort of infantile of accepting yourself. And the worst thing that you can be at school and when you're young is different. And I think that it's just homophobia specifically is so ingrained in our language and in our culture. And I've actually just been working in a school for 6 months with primary school kids, and it's still there. It is still there, and it is still just a repetitive language that they don't understand what means, but it's just a way of giving words to something that makes you a little bit uneasy and scared, and that's such a natural feeling to have, and unfortunately it just passes shame around like it's a baton. And that's a shame, and it's unfortunate, but I think that humour is such a beautiful way to combat that, and so that's why I love the funny part of the show.
Would anyone like to add to that?
Yeah, I definitely had a weird time at school with that, because when you're 13, everyone went through the bi thing, and then I remember by about 17, when you were, it was 18, so it was so I was kind of still in this queer club, and a lot of other people were confused, and not in a way of calling bisexual confused, of course, more in a way of that became a thing of at the time that was what was on our Instagram, and that's what you had to be, and then everyone kind of realised it's probably not what I was, and I'm now something else, and I think going to university just changed my whole world and made me feel so much more human and real, and meeting people that also felt like me, and I remember me and Josh met very early on, his first week of uni. We had this. I remember our meeting just being quite oh, we're both here and this is real now, and I don't know. I often want to hug my younger self, and not in a cringy way, and a way of it's going to be all right. It will be all right, and I do agree with you. It's that those weren't the best years of my life. I love school. I still friends with a lot of great people from school, but I'm really glad I'm not my school self anymore. Should never have tried to have you.
So we definitely wanted it is so specific growing up at school in the age of in the birth of social media, in the way we kind of have seen it expand into what it is today. It was such a such a different experience to that of the generation before me and the generation that my parents grew up in, and it completely changed the landscape of what understanding difference and otherness look like. For better and for worse, I still don't really know where to place my opinion on that. But I think that to your point, like it definitely felt for me growing up at school 10 years ago like it was a place that didn't understand the vastness of humanity that I was getting to experience virtually. I don't know if that makes sense, but it just felt really kind of detached in a way. And so yeah, but like to your point, it growing up and growing up from that and then going to university felt like opening the window and going into like a whole new world, which was amazing.
And my funny thing was just like, I worked at school as well, and the shock I had was, oh, gay is still the worst thing you can be. That is still the worst thing you can be. Like, slurs have not developed. Like, we have not grown from this. We've not like found another thing. It's like, oh, gay is still that word where it's like the ceiling fan. That ceiling fan shit is so gay. I'm like, we've not developed.
So
Like,
strange. Yeah, because that was not when I went to school. For goodness sake. Yeah, that's a long time. Other hands. Yes, on the aisle.
Ned, was it important for you, was it as important for you as a writer to play the role? Was that always the intention? And as the director, was it hard to negotiate? Actually, do you ever have to challenge some of these preconceptions from the part or vice versa?
Ooh, nice.
It's so I kind of want to start off actually because I want to give Ned his credit because this is the thing that I find probably the most impressive about Ned as a creative is that he knew he wanted to play the role. I mean, he can say what he wants about that, but to when it got to us and we were like sure we were going to do it, we kind of knew he was going to play it, and he had this ability and this generosity and kind of lack of kind of perfectionism or sacredness over the text where he could give it to us wholeheartedly and he said, it's now in your control, do what you think is best for it, I trust you guys creatively, and I'm now gonna, as we step into the first rehearsal room, I'm now the actor. Obviously we do consult on a writing basis with Ned, and we have made changes over the few years we've been doing it, but it's always the thing I find the most impressive and what I've learned the most from Ned creatively is that ability to trust other people with your vision and bounce off of each other and be able to, and that just makes everything so much better. And it is such a generous thing that I think a lot of creative people do struggle with, and it makes things so much better.
Are you blushing? So you wrote it with yourself in mind.
I think so. I think I would just like write a line and be like, oh, I know how I would say that. And yeah, I think it was just I think that there's a narcissism element to it, absolutely. I would love to see someone else do it. Josh is the unofficial understudy.
Have you ever gone on, Jack?
No, thank God.
And yeah, I think at this point now, I'm very not like precious of it. I think at the time, I just wanted to be involved. It sounded so shit being a writer who just does all the hard work and then doesn't get to come along for the ride. So this is kind of a surefire way of doing that. But I think now, how I feel about it now, is like, oh, I would love to see someone else do it.
Well, I've always liked the idea in Two-Handed occasionally that the actors swap parts. Would you ever consider doing that?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, we could give it a go.
In a warm-up, occasionally something that they do is that they will do a scene but as different parts. So they've done the Britney dance switch. They've done Harvey's given the beginning monologue a go. Occasionally we give it a go. We do also enjoy that. Yeah, we're Plan Z basically. We would happily.
Harvey, do you have a hankering to play Johnny?
Well, I really enjoyed doing that monologue. It's very fun, very well written. But I don't think I could do it justice to what Ned does. So.
Lizzie, we've referenced here that this show has been on quite a journey. Just recap where you've been with it so far.
So we did stay join the three, and then me and Ned worked before, so I got brought on, and then we want to go to Fringe. That Ned knew that was his goal. He wants to take it to Fringe.
Edinburgh Fringe, then.
Edinburgh Fringe, yeah. and he originally had it kind of programmed, but then COVID hit, so it never got there. So that was the goal. We did 2 Manchester previews in an SU with no lighting and literally like a stomach on the stage. It was like the world. It was just to like show it. We went to Fringe. We did like 10 shows at Fringe. We did a half run and then got extended, and it all went a bit mental, and like it was very, very exciting. And then we knew we wanted to go back. We'd seen a few shows go back with like one of there's like a big four in Edinburgh, and we were like, we knew we wanted to go back to big four. We wanted to go back, preferably with Underbelly, and they took us. And we.
For those who don't know Edinburgh, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
that's a big deal to be programmed as young.
The guy who did our social media, Underbelly, is in the audience. And so we did that. But at that point, I had a full-time job. I didn't know, and I was getting overwhelmed. I was like, I need some help. And so we called up Sarah, and Sarah joined the team, who had already been very involved because she'd worked with the other guys. She'd lived with Ned. Like it was very much like, please come and help us. I need a rat.
So 2 great Edinburgh runs.
Yeah,
a tour. Now you've had a.
Well, actually, we also did a tour last.
Yeah,
spring.
this is your second tour now.
Yeah, which was kind of it was kind of a challenge to us as well. We know that at the Fringe, obviously, the audience was so saturated, so the chance of us getting people in the room was really exciting. But doing a tour around different places in the UK was a bit more of a challenge for us to try and get people in the room. And last year we took it to Waterloo in London, then down to a pub theatre in Bristol, and then finished off in Manchester, where most of us lived at the time.
Manchester loves you.
They love.
Do you find do you get different reactions in different parts of the country?
Yeah. I think in Newcastle, it was like we're used to sometimes going to places where we have a good base, like in Manchester or in London. But yeah, Newcastle didn't know anyone, and we very much just went off with what the theatre had access to. Great theatre. And just we sold really well, and there were just all these people that we had no idea how they found the show, and they loved it. It was great.
Well, that's very encouraging. Do we have any more questions? We've only got a few more minutes, so don't be shy. Yep, Megan.
Just one question of the choir boy group, is there going to be another project for you? And the second question, if I may, do you will be wearing the same shoes?
Oh, wow. Josh actually
I was actually the original.
Penny
I don't
food.
we copy.
Yeah, it's a staple of the production.
Yeah.
Next project.
Yeah, next project.
I think we would love to establish Choir Boys Productions as a theatre company, because now we're very much known as around Fringe we were the Homo lot, which and so I think it would be really cool to be able to say the team behind An Adequate Big and now coming back with a new show. And we've got something that we're really passionate about, and which we're hoping we're going to Manchester, and we're hoping we're going to be able to run a workshop, is demonstrating that you can make Fringe theatre accessible, and if you have a story you want to tell, you can do it. Like that's what we are. We're friends, and we brought this amazing project, and we said, yeah, let's do it, and we've been able to do a 7-stop tour, which is crazy. I don't think any of us ever thought we'd be able to do that. So we have the infrastructure in place now, and we would love to be able to share that with other people in terms of showing them our journey, or perhaps taking someone else's work and going, we've got the infrastructure, let's put your work up for the next Fringe or a next tour, and then hopefully Ned will also write something amazing.
I think, is the pressure on now for you, like the writer of all things?
No, I don't think so. I think there's some keen writers over here. But I would like to keep writing. I think that's my next sort of like goal. And I think that Homo's been amazing. To sort of like as a really cool debut. And now I'm excited to step away from sort of things that are really linked to me and more now just things I'm interested in.
So Peter Pan's coming out of
That kind of did me.
You can do that in a different company.
She's dead. She can, yeah, we'll leave her behind. But yeah, that writing and putting something new on is definitely the next goal.
Very good. And any further comment on the penny loafers?
Buy some. They're really happy, I would say.
They go with everything.
They go with everything. Yeah.
Okay. One final question, everybody? Anybody? Yeah. Oh, okay. We'll hear both and decide which one we like better. Yes, there. You? Yes, with the glasses? Yes.
Just a question for Ned, if I may. Did your interpretation of John's character actually change once you played him compared to when you actually wrote him?
Interesting. Hold that. And Darren?
Why are all the stickers in the chests from the 90s?
Okay, so
Let's give it the first question. Let's give it the first question.
okay, so Ned and then directors will have to answer.
Do my interpretation? Yes, I think so. I think that when I wrote it, I was obviously a lot younger than I am now, because that was almost sort of 4 years ago. It felt really great.
Eternity.
But it felt quite gross. I think that maybe that's just me being a little bit prudish. But it did feel quite gross. It felt really exposing, and he felt quite cringy. And I was like, this is really embarrassing. And then I think that leaning into that, and I did have to really lean into that, and it didn't just like happen really quickly. I left a dance rehearsal crying, and it took a little while to really just like embody it, embrace it, and I think that that's happened over a journey, and that's really nice because we've been doing it for so long. And I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to do that. He's not cringy, fucking cool.
Stickers, answer for it.
Well,
I would
Because
love
the
to
90s was
say.
a great decade.
I mean, yeah,
you.
the amazing answer would be because we want to make it seem like this institution is not moving with the times and it's stuck in the old archaic days. But the probably real reason is that we can peel them off.
Where did you get the trunk?
We bought them from this kind of quite seedy guy who had loads of props.
Please not talk about Lee like that.
Exactly. We've obviously done our own bits on them. We wrote their initials on the front. If you have a look, it's very fun and things like that. But yeah, they were again very fringy. So
they can all fit in a Kia Picanto.
And that was the thing that was important. Yeah.
Yes. and the rugby team list is all like our names as boys and things like that.
There's lots of fun Easter eggs.
Yeah.
It's a very portable set here. It's really very well conceived. Okay, so let's talk for a moment about Brittany. Any thoughts and prayers for Brittany?
Yes, I hope she's doing okay.
Yeah,
I think it was a bit of a random choice, Brittany. I'm not really.
Brittany. How can you support Brittany? I was going to ask like everybody to name their favorite Brittany song, but if you're telling me,
no, I do. I have favorite.
We'll come back to that. But I also want to ask the two of you that brilliant dance number. That is fun. And how much did you choreograph that, Harvey? Did you?
Well, it was
Kitty Charlotte.
Kitty Charlotte who Josh.
I lived with a great dancer and choreographer, Kitty Charlotte, and she came in and did a workshop with the two of us.
Yeah.
In place of them.
Okay.
And I'll tell you that we had more fun on that day than they've ever had.
Maybe we need to compare and contrast.
There's a video somewhere.
We should do it. But it is a great fun scene. Yeah. Do you enjoy doing that each night? And does it change from performance to performance?
There's little bits that maybe slightly tweak within it, and then sometimes adds a little like shoulders to the crawl across the box, depending on how he's feeling. But yeah, no, it's really as soon as that I'm sort of waiting eagerly, pretending sort of to be on the phone, putting the music on, and then when the song comes on, I'm excited every single time. It's great.
Well, it depends on the venue. But some
True.
venues is so end on that they definitely no one would be able to see behind the box. But if we are in a trust or like this where you could be able to peek behind the box, you have to sort of fake it that with something's still happening. Whereas in like an end on venue, we're literally sat behind the box.
Okay. Before we finally close, is there anything that I should have asked that I didn't ask?
Excellent, John.
Too much about
Okay. So then, I always like to ask a final question that you can answer briefly, and each of you has to answer. I'm going to give you a choice: favorite Britney song, or what does "Waiting for Godot" actually mean? Ned.
My favourite Britney song is Stronger, and it's because in the season finale of RuPaul's Drag Race, there's that song is the lip sync song. It's just great. It's really a beautiful performance. And I don't know what Winning That is about.
Well, it's quite fun because we have a repertoire of them playing before, and I'm just back there dancing to them, basically. So I think it's three. Which one? Sorry. Well, I like three when that comes on.
I might attempt the Godot question. I have never seen it, but I've read Waiting for Godot, and the book that we use in the play is my copy, which is like decades old. It's not. It's broken now. But I think what's so beautiful about that play is that it is so simple, and two people creating a world that the audience invest in, and you understand the world through what they talk about and what they see, and even if you can't see yourself. And I think that there is so much of that in this, where we can take 3 boxes and 2 men and create a boarding school. And I think that that's really what we always wanted to do. So I'm glad that it's referenced. I'm glad that we have it in it, because that, to me, it was always something that I was conscious of when we were doing that Beckett's play is an inspiration for us as directors, at least, in how we want to build it.
Oh, well done. So in years to come, people will quote Johnny and Harry in the same way as Brad and
Nice. I'll bring it right down back to earth, like the show does, and say that 3 is my favourite Britney song, and I introduced it to everyone around this circle, and I urge you to listen to it because it's an amazing song, and it gets us pumped every show day. So that's mine.
I would have to say If You Seek Amy, only because I only just found out what it means. And guys, go have a listen to the lyrics, because it's not about Amy.
Is it about consent?
Oh,
we didn't come to that.
I'm a basic person, and now it is just giving more, and it is on on repeat on Spotify. So yeah, and if it comes to in the club, I like it.
Well, I want to say toxic, which I think is very relevant to my play as well. Okay, well, we'll send you all home thinking about that. Meanwhile, Sarah, remind us, this show is here at Riverside until
next Sunday. We've got a little bit of a break. We're going to Guildford on Thursday. If anyone has any friends from Guildford, it's my hometown, so it's only one night there. And then we are coming back. We have 5 more shows here, and then we're going to Sheffield, and then we're going to Manchester, finishing in Manchester.
Oh,
yeah,
right. Lots of friends and family there. Great. So, audience, you have been wonderful. You are now officially Homo fans. And so we need you to go forth and tell people about the show. Follow them on social media, because they will be announcing further projects soon. I'm sure of it. This is a company that has a lot more art to create. I can feel that very strongly. And once we give a big clap for them all, please do get out your phones for those of you on social media, take photos, share them, make sure you tag everybody, and that will really help spread the word. But meanwhile, join me please in thanking Lizzie and Sarah and Meg and Josh and Harvey and Ned.